welcome back to my YouTube channel. If this is your first time coming across here, we are the Make Your Monday family. My name is Mufaro and we are so excited to have you here, and so there's no reason for you to be outside of the club. Otherwise, join and become part of the family. We are an amazing family. We talk about business, we talk about life, we talk about faith and everything that spans in between that. We also believe that in making our Mondays, we ultimately make our week, and the week will set the tone for the month, and then the months become years, and the years ultimately make our lives. So if that is the kind of family that you are looking to be part of, then hey, hit that subscribe button, honey. And to all my regulars, my Monday makers, my movers and my shakers, welcome back. Thank you so much for clicking on another video. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you for the love. Thank you for the engagement. And yeah, so to all the new members of the family, you can follow us on Instagram. We do have an Instagram page, and you can follow me as well on Instagram, on TikTok, and on Facebook. All of that great stuff is linked below and in the description box. So without taking much time, let's get into today's video. But I need to tell you guys something. This is like the 4th time that I am refilming this video. My heart! I had filmed it and I was editing and it got deleted, and I was just not about to sit down and do it again. But anyways, so this is the second part of the what we spoke about, like the skills that you're going to need to acquire to be an entrepreneur, a business owner, or whether to run your side hustle more successfully, right? And so we spoke about the other 4. I'm really not going to go back over them, but what I will tell you is you can go back and watch that video for yourself. And so this is a part 2 to that. And so the first thing we want to talk about is, listen, if you want to make it, you are going to have to learn to plan. Honestly, I cannot stress enough how much you will have to plan. I think it's a quote from someone who is in the army, and he says, not planning is planning to fail. You'd rather have your plan fail than not have a plan at all. And that's the thing with business, be that you are a full-time business owner, even if you're part-time or you have your side hustle, you cannot do away with planning. You have got to plan. So I'm going to share a short story with you on my own lesson that I learned from planning. So this year, I had not planned or prepared to be part of Valentine's. Like, I just accepted that, you know what, I don't think that like my products are like aimed towards Valentine's Day. And so it so happened that around like the 9th and the 10th of February, I started getting inquiries. And now I started to panic, and I was now starting to think like, oh my gosh, what can I do? What should I do to source orders? And my sister just had to sit me down and said, my guy, take your L. Just take your L as a champ. Take it with your chest. Why? Because I did not plan. Where I was supposed to get cards because I wanted to customize cards, I was in a completely different city. I didn't have enough time to source flowers. I needed to source like chocolates and candy and all of that. And I just realized that I had actually failed to plan. So if you want your business to run successfully, if you are planning to make good sales, you know, I always tell myself this, please, you can say that I said it, is that whatever you do not treat like a business, do not expect the sales or the profit of a business. The best way that you can honor your business, if you want it to give you the sales of a business, the profit of a business, you have to treat it like a business. And how are you going to do that? You are going to have to plan. You have to plan your stock. You have to plan towards events. You just have to plan. If you see, recently it was Father's Day, right? But notice the time that they started to advertise Father's Day, stock for Father's Day. The moment that after Mother's Day, ads hit the ground running, companies hit the ground running, and they started to let you know that, hey, Father's Day is around the corner. Why? Because you find that all those brands recognize and appreciate the importance of planning. Because you know what? Planning is going to give you enough time to reach your target audience. It's also going to give you enough time to get your stock in order. Unlike what I was trying to do that, you know, 3 days before Valentine's Day, I was trying to source orders. I was trying to source flowers, of which most florists are already stocked out. So you definitely want to make sure that you are planning. I cannot stress enough how important it actually is to plan. And so another thing I wanted to talk about is, while we are on the aspect of planning for the business, this also then feeds into the business plan that we've been talking about. Because at this point, you also want to decide, are you in business for the short term or for the long term? Because it's also going to affect the kind of plans that you're making. So there are certain things that someone who's in the business for the short term doesn't really have to consider, which someone who's in the business for the long term actually has to think about. So you definitely want to look and sit and think, do you want to be in this for the long run? Because if you're in it for the long run, you're going to look to build a brand. And building a brand is actually going to take you time. You're going to have to think to make effective and good decisions to make sure that in the long run, you don't undertake maybe partnerships, you don't do things that will ultimately hurt your brand. And another thing you want to learn is, we want to learn self-management. I cannot stress enough that you are going to have to learn to manage yourself. You're going to have to learn to manage your time as well. No one is going to come and say, hey, wake up, you have a business to run. Hey, there's sales to be made. Nope. You have to do that all by yourself. And again, this walks hand in hand with planning. You're going to have to manage your own time to figure out a content schedule. You know, I had to learn that recently because, I'm not a marketer. I'm really not. But in the meantime, until I can afford to get someone, I need to plan in such a way that, people don't have to really see that, oh, I don't have a social media strategist, or I don't have a social media manager. But you do have to learn to plan your time effectively. You have to learn to manage your own time. You are the one who's in the driver's seat. We were discussing with a friend, and she was laughing and telling me about, how she's complaining that, oh, I want to take my business to the next level, but I just don't have enough time. But it dawned on her that if there's anyone who's in control of your time, it's actually you. And I understand that if you are maybe, you're part-time, this is a side hustle, still you are the one who is in control of your time, and so you get to decide how far the business is going to go. You are the one who's going to decide how much time are you going to dedicate to your business to ensure that it's going to grow. And another thing that you want to learn is, you have to learn to be flexible. Right, so what do I mean? You're going to have to learn to adapt quite quickly, and you need to learn to be agile. Reason being that your business does not exist in a cocoon. Your business is not existing in a bubble. Our businesses exist in a volatile market, which is affected by so many things. We discussed them in the previous video, like the pestle factors, political, economic, socio-economic, there's technological, there's legislation, there's environmental. All those factors will affect your business. For example, I'm in manufacturing. Should the government wake up tomorrow and say one of the chemicals that we use is banned, or it's no longer fit for people, I need to be flexible enough to make my business adapt. I need to be quick enough to realize that, okay, there's this change, what should I do? A good example is Kodak. Kodak became extinct because they failed to adapt to their environment. They failed to adapt to the fact that there was a technological change that was happening. You can either change to fit the business, or change to meet the challenge that is coming your way, or that challenge will annihilate you, as we saw with Kodak, because they failed to be flexible, they failed to adapt. And that's the thing with many businesses. The reason why many businesses then fail is because we've actually failed to adapt. We failed to adapt to political changes, to economic changes, to social changes, changes in our consumers, the patterns, the behavior, the consumption, legislation-wise. If they wake up and they say, all companies that don't have their papers in order, the doors are getting shut, what are you going to do? So it is definitely a skill that you want to make sure that you are picking up along the way, and you definitely want to master it. Then another thing, please, I cannot stress enough, learn to keep records. Do not bank on your memory. is not as great as you think it is. Trust me. As a business owner, whether it's your side hustle, whether it's your full-time hustle, please keep business records. Like I was saying, if you want to see the sales and profit of a business, you have to treat it like one. And part of that is you need to make sure that you are keeping records. So to all my SMEs, my part-timers, don't worry, I've got something coming in the pipeline that will help you in that area. So as much like you are solving a problem, right? That's the whole point of you doing a business. So unless you're an NGO, I really doubt that you want to solve a problem for free. So you want to make sure that, is your business generating enough income? How are your expenses doing? What is really eating into your bottom line? All those things, you're only going to figure them out if you have a record. So I suggest, if you don't have a laptop or a computer where you can just have a basic Excel book, please invest in a hard copy exercise book. It's really not that expensive to get a counter book where you write, note down your expenses, note down your sales. At the end of each month, draft up a simple profit and loss so that you are understanding how much money is coming into my business, how much money is leaving my business, and how much money am I left with at the end of the day. The thing is, if you never manage to sit down with your data, you never manage to look at your records, you will never know, are you actually making a profit, are you making a loss? You never get to know what are the major expenses of my business. In the scenario, or a worst case scenario, that sales are super low, who can I rely on? Who are my reliable customers? And at this point, this is where your 80-20 rule now is going to come into play. So there's this rule that says 80% of your sales are driven by 20% of your customers. But the honest truth is, you're never going to know that 20% if you don't have time to go through records. If you actually don't even have the records to go through and realize that, oh, it's Mr. Jones. Mr. Jones makes a purchase every month on a Monday. You can now begin to study your consumer patterns. You can now begin to make sense of what your company is telling you. Because let me tell you, as a tech girl, data does not lie. And as a business, you want to make sure that you are making data-driven decisions. Even if you have a lipstick business, check to see which customer, how often are my customers purchasing lipstick? That will let you know of how frequent you should be using your stock. So now, instead of having your money tied up in stock, and yet your customers are only purchasing every 4 months, you can now kind of brainstorm and think, what do I do in the next 3 months? My customers have purchased today. For the next 3 months, what can I look to do to ensure that I am actually generating an income? So, and last but not the least is that please give yourself grace. Remember that as the business is growing, so are you. You're not going to have it all together on the first day, the same way that we give a baby grace. We don't expect a baby to just come and they are able to talk, they're able to walk, they've got everything figured out. No, as a business owner, make sure that you give yourself grace and you give yourself space to grow. Give yourself room to learn to make decisions, to learn to make mistakes. The reason why I can now make better decisions today than when I did 4 years ago when I started is because I gave myself space. I learned to pick myself up. After you make a bad decision, don't just shove it in the closet and say, I'm never going to make a decision again. Or I never want to think about the decision again. No. Because like I said, you're living in a volatile environment, and it's very likely that the same decision is going to come up, or it's going to pop up a few years down from now, and you want to make sure that you learn the lessons. And just to end it off is that we want to commit our plans to the Lord. Proverbs 16:3 speaks about how if a man commits his plans to the Lord, he will establish them. So I hope you found these useful, and you can let me know in the comment section what else would you like me to cover, because we are slowly coming to a wrap and the close of our business series. But otherwise, I hope you're all well. Do let me know how you're doing. How are your businesses doing? Are they thriving? Are they not? Otherwise, from me to you, see you in our next video.